want to show you one more thing. I have somebody like rubbing my leg.
Hi.
This is what it means to live in a small house with a lot of people.
Okay.
Hello, we're starting the video right now. Action.
Which is kind of like a part 2 to our house tour.
Actually, we should have just called it like part 1, part 2, I think.
Well, yeah, except there's no touring in this one.
Yeah, so if you didn't watch it, you should go back and watch the video before this one because we did a tour of the house that we've been renovating. So go back and watch that and then come back here.
Yeah, because there is so much to be said about what it's been like that we couldn't say in the tour. We tried to, but it was like almost an hour long.
We made it too long, so we're breaking it up into two videos.
So we're breaking it up into 2 videos. So we have been in this house for 7 months. We have 11 people in our family, but 2 are out serving as missionaries, our 2 oldest sons. So there's only 9 people living in this house.
Did you just say only?
Mm-hmm.
Only.
Which is 1,300 square feet. And remember back in the day there was like an official rule on what constituted a tiny house?
Yeah, so in the previous video we had some people made comments. They're like, it's not technically a tiny house. It's like, I think what was considered tiny was 100 square feet per person.
100 and something square feet per person.
Made a tiny house.
Yeah, I thought it was like 150, and so.
If you take into account our whole family, that would be obviously 1,100 square feet.
Well, no, we should look this up. Hold on a second.
You want to hold on?
I'm gonna, 11.
Google.
Okay, so a tiny house is considered, a small house is a house less than 1,000 square feet. Okay. But a tiny house usually has less than 400 square feet. But I guess
How does that scale?
Yes, because most of the time when you live in a tiny house, it's 1 to 2 people. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while they have a child. So I think that would be, let's say you had 3, which is very rare to see 3 people
We're really doing
in a
deep
400
dive
square
into
foot
this.
house. If you multiply that times 3, which is how many are currently living in this house, that takes you to a 1,200 square foot house. So I just think that it
For
matters.
Our family
No, it does
size,
matter.
I think I would consider this a fairly tiny house. So it feels that way.
No, it actually.
So hang on, let me show you what's going on right here. I'm gonna.
Yeah. In case you think
all
that
that?
we're off in some.
All the kids are here. They're doing their screen school time right now.
And other things.
And
So yeah, you really were just doing that so you could be more on screen, weren't you?
What?
Just kidding.
Did I move
The symmetry, the lack of symmetry will bother
You got to
me.
have the equal amount of books
Yeah.
here.
Did you notice we matched the bookshelves?
Oh, you're right.
I went with these colors. You went with those.
Blue.
No, that was the first thing that we knew when we were moving into this house. We were moving from a house almost 3 times the size into this house, knowing it was only temporary, and we didn't even know what that really meant, but meaning how long. Mm-hmm. But one of the things we knew we would lose was like that pretty much, unless you were in your bedroom, you were always in the same room as everybody else, which is kind of how open floor plans are anyways.
Yeah.
It's just that you're never, even in this house, if you are in a bedroom, you are really never further than about 10 feet from someone else. You can't get...
Maybe 20.
Maybe.
20.
Well, as the crow flies though, right? But someone else.
Crow
not
is
everyone.
not flying around in this house.
But someone else.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone. So right now, I mean, this is
And
probably
then
15
if you add all the
feet.
mice and the rats, you're always close to a living thing.
No, so we knew that would be the case, and we didn't know how that would go. Well, we kind of did, because if you didn't know, Mike and I used to live with our 9 kids in less than 400 square feet, literally, so we can speak.
We did that.
We did
for a
do
year.
the literal definition of tiny house, but I feel like, in insane ways, because there were so many of us.
Yeah, so when we first moved into this house, I was really pretty negative about it. I was not feeling the love for moving into a little house.
I don't remember that.
I kind of concealed it, but at the time I wasn't really excited about moving in here because of this space, and I knew how and I also just knew we were moving into a mess because we were going to have to do some work, and I don't like messes.
Well, I guess both of us were like, First of all, did we talk in the tour video why we decided to do it? We're all over the place here, but
Why we moved into the house in the first
yeah,
place?
like
No, we
people
didn't.
don't even
Let's
understand
give the
why we
background.
did that.
Let's give the background. Do we need to go back?
Well, so we bought this house a year ago for its location and planned on, and we got an architect before even closing. We were talking with the architects and looking at plans, and we were renting a house that was obviously 3 times as big. And
Obviously.
working, no, I just mean like, because I had already said that, working with these architects, and it was not as quick a process as we thought. And it started to get complicated where like it kept getting away from us. We went to the architects the very first meeting and they said, what's your budget? We said, well, we'd like to keep it at this number. Is that reasonable? And they're like, oh, I totally think you can do that. And they like talked amongst themselves. Oh, I think so. I think these people doing this, I think they've kept it under that. So we're like, okay, great.
No problem.
So we moved forward, but I think we got our first bids back in December.
I don't remember
We
when.
closed in the early November, and then we got our first bids back from the first floor plan, which was very small.
It might have been a little bit later, but it took a little longer to get the design.
No,
but
it was great, right before we went to Peru, though, and it
Okay.
was like 3 times as much as what we had told them we wanted to pay.
Yeah.
And no, it was weird because like everybody was kind of like that conversation had never happened. We were kind of like, oh, okay, that's a lot more than we thought. But we're gonna go. It's the holidays, and then we're going to Peru, so we'll just wait till after that, and we'll get back and kind of hit it again. So came back and tried again, even more expensive, and so that brought us till about April maybe, and we were just kind of like we didn't know what to do because we just didn't know what to do. We were just kind of like, I don't know what to do, which weeks and weeks and weeks can pass in that state if anybody's ever been there where you're not really sure what to do. And meanwhile, like we were letting people stay there some of the time. I was using it as storage for my indoorsy business or our indoorsy business.
Well, then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And so everything actually came to a halt because their offices closed for a while, and we were like, well, we need to wait anyways. So basically we got to a state where the house was just sitting here. We knew that it was too expensive, the design they had come up with. We were like unsure of what to do with it. We were wondering, should we just sell it?
Double payments.
We were making 2 house payments, which we didn't want to do for very long if we could avoid it. It was either sell the house or
It's kind of like, which one are you going with? Are you
move
going with
into
the
the
rental
house.
or are you going with the house? And yeah, and it was ultimately like, wasn't even on the table to move into the house until just
Before.
like one day, like 1st of June or something. It was like, dude,
we had sort of a
I'm so tired of this back and forth. Let's
yeah,
just
we
move
had
into
this
the house.
conversation. We were both stressed about all this stuff. I was stressed about the house just sitting here empty because I think an empty house, things break more easily or people notice it's empty and, things happen. So I don't know how we decided, but we somehow thought it would be a better idea to just see if we could get out of our lease at the other place and move into this house.
Well, part of it was that we had just been in this like merry-go-round of like, what are we doing with this house? And like, okay, well, let's just believe that we can make that budget work, even though it's like insanely above what we wanted to pay. Let's see if we can make that work. And just going around and around and around. And so I think ultimately that day it was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's just move into that house. Let's just move in, stop paying so much for rent, start putting our money towards this and figure it out. And like we talked about how every time in our past when we've done something great, we burned all the bridges.
Well, yeah, which means you commit and you like don't give yourself
Burned all the bridges, burned all the boats.
boats. It's a boat. It's sort of this battle that happened, and the captain like burned the boat, so there was no retreat. Basically, there's no way out except to like win.
Forward, yeah.
And so that same day we came over here, took another look at it, and I remember I called the leasing company that was managing the rental and said, "Hey, can you check with the owners and see if they would be willing to let us out early?" And they came back later that day and said, actually, they would really like to sell their house and they would love for you to move out. So
Because it's if you guys don't remember,
back in the spring,
it was June.
yeah, right. I
Like
guess it was summer.
that's when restrictions started to lift and the market just started going nuts. And so
Yeah.
I think they were kind of like, oh, because nobody knew, and we still don't know what the market will be like when our lease was supposed to be over, which is next year. And so it was
good
like
for
a
them.
win-win.
Yeah, it
And
was
they
great.
sold their house really fast.
Yeah.
But and then the warehouse happened, so we had somewhere to put our stuff, and it just kind of all worked out for us. But both you and I guess what you were saying is you were not optimistic about moving, and I think both of us thought it doesn't matter what you feel. You're just doing it. So try to be optimistic, or just if you already have negative feelings, not going to be really helpful if you share them because this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And,
I did.
And we didn't want everybody else to we didn't want there to be a coup.
Yeah, the kids. You want to keep a happy face for the kids. And they actually we haven't had any complaints.
Yeah.
So we moved in, and about a month before, when we told them we want to move out, they gave us about a month to
I want to show you one
get
more
out.
thing. I have somebody rubbing my leg.
Hi.
This is what it means to live in a small house with a lot of people.
We're all here on top of each other. So we showed all this. So we have some videos from the renovation, but basically the month before we moved in, we were working as hard as we could to try to get things done. Most of it really didn't actually get done before we moved in, when it comes down to it. Like, we still had a wall here where this camera's actually sitting. It was like studs. We'd ripped a bunch
I
of.
totally
remember?
forgot we moved
It was
in and
such
lived
a
here for
mess.
2 months
Like
with studs.
there were
wires hanging.
It was just a total construction zone. But we moved in and then just kept working on it. So
I will say our patience was shorter during those couple months with each other. Yeah.
Yeah, we had it's stressful.
You just got it more easily. For some reason, you get more easily irritated when there's wires and stuff hanging above your head.
Yeah, well, yeah, and there's lots. There was a lot. We had kids who had just gone on their missions, and there was a lot going on. So
Yeah.
But anyhow, after we got past that first little bit, it's actually been, like you already said, it's been a lot more comfortable than we thought it would be. Living in a 1,300 square foot house with 9 people actually isn't as tight as I expected. It's tight as far as stuff goes. It's actually, I think it's more tight for things than it is for people, because you just can't bring as much stuff from a 3,600 square foot house, all that stuff into a 1,300 square foot house. So
Yeah. Well, and yes, admittedly, I am not a minimalist.
we like our stuff.
Mike could more easily
Especially
be
if
minimalist
it's
than
books.
me. Mike doesn't care about stuff.
Oh, I moved
It's
this
definitely
wrong.
me. But there are just things beyond the minimalism that you realize you need a space for, like printers,
Yeah.
pencils. I mean, all these little things, blankets, bedding, kitty litter boxes.
Towels. When you only have one hallway closet for the whole house, you realize that you were used to having more than that.
Yeah, and then I think that's when our skills from living in the RV really kicked in. We know how to do this. We know how to make the most of spaces, going vertically, going underneath things, using every inch of things but then the balance was, but it's not forever.
Right.
So you don't want to build all these amazing things. I know a lot of you are like, you should make this or make that. It's but it's not forever. So
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to build these beautiful storage solutions for a short, even if it's for a year, that's expensive. And so
Yeah.
It was what can we do that utilizes our space and makes us comfortable for the short term? How much can we live with? And how much is no, we can't. That's worth the money, So I think we ended up spending, really, how much do you think it was?
On this whole thing?
3,000?
No, more than that. If you count the plumbing just for
you're
that
right.
was $1,500. I would say $4,000 to $5,000
4,000 to 5,000.
total to do what
But
we did.
a lot of what we thought we were doing, because this is the thing about construction too, is you can't know everything from the beginning. Absolutely, I think everybody you talk to who's renovating a house or anything along those lines, if they knew everything they learn along the way, if they knew at the beginning, they would have done things very differently.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of grateful we didn't know everything, because moving the washer dryer and the plumbing and things has been so helpful. But now we thought, oh, well, it'll stay there. But now that we've talked, we realize, no, it won't.
Yeah.
But we might not have done it. And we might have been a lot less comfortable if we thought, oh, but it's only for 6 to 12 months. Is it really
Sometimes-
worth that
Well, I think
couple
it is.
$1,000?
Because there's no way it would have worked with the washer
I know, but
dryer,
we
right?
would have been really torn. Ooh, could we
Yeah.
just make it work? And
Yeah.
so,
Kind of grin and bear it.
so that being said, if we did not have 2 more children who will come home, I think we would have really considered
Not really.
adding on too much. Maybe adding on a closet or a bathroom, or expanding over the carport or whatever. But this is much more doable than we ever realized, and that makes me happy. because houses are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's like these ideas about like how much a house should be. Now, I know this does not apply to everybody. If you live in a big city, or if you live in many other places outside of the U.S., people live in smaller houses throughout Europe and Asia and things. I don't know much about housing in Africa, but I'm going to assume that most of the world, South America, lives in smaller homes than Americans. But here in America, like people with 2 children live in 3,000, 3,500 square foot homes very normally out in the suburbs. And it's really happy to discover how comfortable it can be in a home like this. Part of the problem too is we have huge furniture now, and so you have to be really selective with furniture and finding things. But that being said, this has been a really happy experience for me, because I learned that like you can totally do it. Humans get used to things, they make them work, and it's not like you're in a death march, make it work and get used to it, but like you realize like all of these things I thought I had to have to be happy, that like sometimes you fight so hard against, because you think I would be so unhappy if I had to make that sacrifice. And then when you're actually there, it wasn't that big of a sacrifice and you're fine. And sometimes we'll put ourselves into real binds. Just stay away from that. Like you work at a job you don't like, you go into debt in ways that make you feel uncomfortable because you're so certain that making these decisions will make you so unhappy. And I'm happy to learn that no, it's way better. I'm way happier.
Oh, in this situation?
In this situation, I'm cozy. It's fun. It's not as stressful to have a small house. It's very manageable. And I don't have 2 mortgages. So like, I guess I'm just saying, people will often say, I wish I could homeschool, or I wish I could, work at a job that I love, or I wish I could travel more. But we can't afford it because of these other things that we think we have to have in order to be comfortable. And I'm happy to report that maybe some of those things actually wouldn't detract from quality of life in the ways that you think they would, and then would also then enable you to do other things.
So the ultimate, and I think we've already said it, but I can't remember what we've said and haven't said on these videos. So I'm just going to say that the ultimate goal here is we're going to keep the footprint of the house pretty much as it is. The house is kind of at 2 levels on the front right now. So the idea is that we'll expand the footprint just to meet the other, like
the front
level of the front, and then go up and add a second story, and so it'll look like a salt box house. And by doing that, it gives us the ability, obviously, to reconfigure and add a couple bedrooms and some bathrooms. So we're actually, the plan right now is to find, and we have found a plan online that is one of those plans that you find with these online services, and then they can adjust the plan for you at a minimal cost. It's like $1,000 for them to make changes according to.
I know that doesn't sound minimal, but when you've been working with architects, that's very.
Yeah,
minimal.
I mean, if you want to, we were going to pay the architect a total of like $14,000, I think, to do their work. So, if you consider that price, it's a much cheaper option, and
we get to stay more in control.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of realized is we have a bit more of an idea of what we want, and I think we want to be able to control that and not have the opinion or input of another designer.
Yeah, we're kind of like easy to push around, I think that's what it comes down to. We're easy to push around, and we're like, oh yeah, that sounds amazing, and then before you know it, you're like, that's a beautiful house, but I don't think that's what I want.
Yeah, and you'll walk away from a meeting and realize you agreed to some things that maybe you didn't actually want, and so I think this route will work better for us. And so I think we're at the point with this house where it's going to pretty much stay the way it is, like we sort of alluded to. Like I doubt we're going to fix some of this, like the exposed wood and that sort of thing, because it's like
it doesn't pay off that
and we're so busy with other things. It's like I don't know if we want to take the time to do that.
And it's COVID. Who's coming over anyways? It's just us, man.
Yeah, no one's coming over. We don't worry too much about how it looks, just as long as it's comfortable for us. And so what we're going to do, I think, for the next 3 to 6 months, is prepare to start that process. It's mostly financial preparing. We're trying to get ready financially to do that, because it's a obviously a big investment and all that stuff with construction loans and whatnot.
I will say, you may wonder, back to that original number we proposed to the architect, will we be able to hit that? No, but we're getting
what number?
the one we said to the architects, like, how much do you want to spend? We're getting
we realized that we were
a lot closer though.
Yeah, we
Like,
weren't realistic.
They were really, the quotes were coming back literally 2 to 3 times more than what that number.
Yeah.
Now this is just like 1.5 times.
We hope. We have yet to actually get a bid from a contractor,
But we have talked to someone who
But it's
says
a lot.
the price per square foot we can probably
we have a
get for that.
construction consultant we've been talking to, and it is a lot smaller than what was drawn by the architect.
Not our
Square
first
footage.
one. Same size
it?
as the first one, yeah. Because we also wanted to keep it small and
But
simple.
I don't think we ever got a bid for the first one.
Yeah.
Did we? No, we didn't.
Oh.
We never got a bid on that one because we made some changes and then we got some different plans.
So, anyways,
There's a lot of unknowns still, but either way, we're gonna make it work because we love the location. We love the
yes.
town that we're near.
We
And
weren't
that's-
sure, too,
That's
like-
really why we bought the house in the first place, was where it was located, not so much what it was. And that's a big deal for us because you can change this, but you can't change where it's sitting.
location.
Right.
And we were kind of nervous about that. Like, is it really going to be all that? And
Like,
are we
would we
really
enjoy it as much?
Yeah, like, is it worth it? And we can report after 7 months. Yes, it's as good as we thought to be close to the downtown area and to be that in connection with the community. We really love it. The freedom that offers our kids. We live in a really safe town, so they can walk to the library or to the soda shop or to the bookstore, the ice cream store.
Not that they can go in the library, but
You
they
can
can
now.
walk there. Is it open now?
You can go in like a few at a time, right?
Can you guys go in the library now?
Can you go in the library now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Just one section's open now.
Goes to show how much I'm paying attention.
I know you usually spend so much time at the library.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Yeah, we have one here. So that has been nice to access town, and we realize that we are more town people than we are country people.
It's always hard. We're still always back and forth.
Yeah, but I'm not anymore.
No, I think what we're happy about too with this location, another reason we really jumped on this is because it has a half-acre lot and very, very, very few places in town. Like, that's almost unheard
That's
of.
uncommon, yeah.
And so we can still have the things that we wanted, like a large garden and chickens. Chickens are allowed in our town. We can have, outdoor spaces and really utilize that. So that's
Also,
happy too.
we've also driving a lot less. And I was looking at I was kind of balancing the checkbook yesterday, and I realized that we only filled up the cars once last month, one time each car,
And
where
what
it
was it
used to
usually?
be like 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Like, we spend so much less on gas and burn a lot less gas because we're so much closer to everything. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it's
So-
really happy. So, yeah, I
that
think
it?
the biggest takeaway is I'm learning that, like, I'm usually like I want it and I want it now. That's Veruca Salt from. Oh, my bum.
We're sitting on this little hearth thing here.
No, I guess it's learning, one, the sacrifices are often not that big of a deal, especially when it comes to like material things, that you probably won't miss them. Simplifying is not that scary. And then they often, when you are sacrificing material things, usually there's other things that compensate. So I learned that lesson. And things that you were just so scared of. I mean, we were so nervous about it we were like almost sick. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go, only having one shower and
Yeah, I was really
like
nervous
our
about
small
that.
water heater. How are we gonna do it? It's gonna be so hard, and it hasn't been. It really wasn't hard.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
fine.
how often do we not do things because we're so scared of the unknowns? And it's a good lesson for me again.
Well, you tend to write a story that is going to be bad, but
Yeah.
maybe you should write the story that'll be good.
Yeah, and then we're like, we'll figure it out. And then the second thing I'm still learning is patience in the process, because it's not a quick thing to renovate a house. There's lots and lots of steps, and I am not a naturally patient person, I guess, is for timelines, for doing stuff. I'm not naturally patient. I'd like to think I'm patient with my family, but I'll keep liking to think that.
But the good thing about that impatience, as it were, is it gets you do things, so you get things done. So that's good.
Well, thank you. But anyway, so that, I don't know if we went all over the place, but
We probably did, but it's okay.
so
So this is the
middle.
what do we call this? The supplementary commentary on the video before.
And then eventually we're going to have a moving video,
Yeah.
because we will have to move out, which we didn't really think through. which is fine.
to do the major renovation.
Which is not a big deal. See, we're doing it right there. Like we're ready. Like we'll figure it out.
We'll be fine.
We'll move out, renovate, and then move back in. I think the other question that we'll probably get is, will we be doing the renovation ourselves? And probably not.
No, we won't. That is just too huge a project. One thing is we are going to need to get a construction loan, and the bank actually requires that you have contractors and you have a general contractor that's like a licensed general contractor. So
which he looked into, and it's way more complicated than
to
just
become
like
a general
getting a
contractor.
license. Yeah.
It's a pretty involved process, and it wouldn't be worth it for one project. So no, we won't be doing it. We'll do our best to document it, but
and do our best to get a contractor who doesn't mind us being here a lot and
being involved
really
in
being
some ways,
involved,
but we'll see. That's probably 6 months away. So don't look for that anytime real soon. We're just going to be in the house as it is and doing our.
You'll get at least 5
things.
videos before then.
Yeah. We also have a goal to post more on YouTube, so
it was just hard.
let's hope we can do that.
There was so much going on that, but now we've settled down.
No promises.
We settled in a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. Go to knorpandstouth.com for any more information. We have t-shirts on the website. We have our Amazon shop on the website, which is all the stuff that we use.
Yeah, because I often get asked, where did you get the rug? It's on our
If
Amazon
you're curious
links.
about, I put most of the stuff on there that we've purchased. And even if you aren't interested in the things that we purchase, if you go to Amazon through our link, then we actually get a credit for whatever you buy for the next 24 hours on Amazon, which helps us a lot.
One step closer.
So if you want to do your Christmas shopping, you're going to do it on Amazon, it'd be awesome if you wanted to go through our link. And then, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hope you have a happy holidays. We are looking forward to Thanksgiving next week. I think we'll probably break a lot of states' restrictions for numbers, but it's just one household, so I think we
just
can
with our own immediate family.
get in under the wire, because it is just going to be us and the kids.
It'll be an intimate affair, so it'll be nice.
We're excited.
We're looking forward to that.
We've been collecting a lot of things at thrift stores to make the table, like our tableware, pretty and special, and recipes. So I'm
So
excited.
stay tuned, and you can hang out with us a little bit for Thanksgiving.
All right.
All right.
Happy holidays, guys. We love you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.